CNBC just called XRP the hottest crypto of the year. Now, before you go rolling your eyes and think this is going to be about price targets and hype, it's not. Because the real reason XRP is moving, it has absolutely nothing to do with the headlines. It has everything to do with its infrastructure. I'm going to show you the clip here in just a second. Then we'll break down what CNBC didn't explain to you, including the same infrastructure trade that shows up in ETFs, enterprise treasury systems, and even the silver and copper debate. Yes, silver by popular demand has made it to the channel.
The hottest crypto trade of the year is not Bitcoin. It is not Ether. It is XRP, the coin formerly known as Ripple, soaring more than 20% this year, becoming the third largest cryptocurrency out there, and there's big money behind this trade. Mackenzie Sagalos joins us now with that XRP trade.
Now, I'm going to let you guys listen to the entire thing. A lot of people cut it at this point.
Well, it's actually been interesting is that during the doldrums of Q4, you actually saw a lot of people piling into those XRP ETFs, which is the exact opposite of what happens with the spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs, where people really move in tandem with the price of the coin. But it was the fact that it is a way to have a higher percentage jump. So people were buying the dip with XRP in Q4, thinking this is a less crowded trade than Bitcoin or Ether. And then that proved out to be true just in the first 6 trading days of January.
We've also talked a lot about the blockchain.
Now, quickly, I'm just pausing it for a second here. They talked about it not being as crowded as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Important distinction. This is how the institutions think about this stuff, okay? So let's go ahead and hop into the rest of it. I'm not going to take up the whole thing with this, but I want to show you guys what no one else is showing you.
Chains and the ecosystems that are being built around many of these systems. We know kind of what they are with regard to Bitcoin. We certainly these days know what it is around Ethereum and Ether. What exactly is the big use case or driver? What's the practicality for XRP?
Well, with XRP and Solana, those are the two very popular altcoins right now where you're seeing a lot more interest. And with Solana, a lot of these different forms of tokenization. So we talk about tokenized dollars all the time in the context of stable coins. But now we're seeing a lot of people move into tokenizing money market funds. And Solana has become a blockchain use case for that. And XRP made its name in terms of cross-border payments. But what's been fascinating is even just this morning, Morgan Stanley, which has been especially progressive in terms of having their financial advisors suggest that clients get into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. They were the first bank to do that. They're now, just this morning, filing an S1 to launch their own Bitcoin and Solana ETFs because there is an appetite there.
So in the world where Bitcoin has become a bit mainstream, I'm not going to say the boomer, that's not my line, that's from somebody else. Is it possible that XRP and Solana are simply taking their place as kind of the next cool thing to know about? Or do they have a legitimately different and more relevant use case?
Well, in the context of just looking to make an investment that has bigger gains, you're not going to get that from Bitcoin just because it's already so established. You're not seeing the same kind of percentage moves. But what's fascinating with Solana especially is just that it moves faster. And so you're able to tokenize these funds, move, whether it's a money market fund that you're moving along or some other tokenized asset, it just is more efficient than Bitcoin as a base blockchain, which is why you're seeing more use cases.
But that's also the reason why, right? Solana is the big thing right now because it is a faster transaction mechanism.
Cheaper transactions too.
And Ether is a cheaper transaction mechanism as well. We talk about stable coins if people have Coinbase wallets or Coinbase accounts. If they use the base network, for now many of those stable coins are transaction free. So the speed, is that what's driving a lot of this idea that cost and speed is going to be the defining factor for how people gravitate towards certain blockchains?
That's exactly it. And also with stablecoins, the Genius Act was passed into law last year, so we saw a lot more stablecoin issuers. But remember, it's not as though they only operate over one blockchain. You have different blockchains where you can move USDC.
Well, remember, they were just talking about the Genius Act being done next year, and we saw this ramp up in stablecoin activity, right? We don't have Clarity Act. We don't have a Clarity Act yet. So we're not seeing a ramp up in the actual utility tokens yet until we get clarity,
for example. And so Tron is another quick blockchain.
But at different costs, though,
at different price points. And so Solana is a lot more cost effective than moving money over the Ethereum blockchain at different points, which is why you're seeing people diversify away from the big two.
Times are changing. Do you think that? Do you sense, you talk to these people more than any of us, Mac, do you sense the times are changing or not? Is it just, in other words, are they looking for the next thing now that Bitcoin's been in a consolidation pattern, or are the real like long-term holders, the true believers, sticking with it?
I think absolutely we're seeing times change. You've got
thing like XRP would not be discussed openly a year ago, period. Like no one would mention XRP other than in a negative light with the SEC lawsuit as far as mainstream media. So it's an important distinction. Yes, they pivoted to Solana very quickly, but it's an important distinction that they really, really are hammering XRP right now. And it's, again, the price moves not because of news, the price moves because of structure. We were talking about hitting 220 yesterday and holding it, and that we were going to come up and retest EMA 9 right around 229. That happened pretty much exactly. We crossed it, we closed above it, and then promptly came right back under it. So this opens us up to come back and retest 220. We lost 220. That is not a good thing, but I want to take this and point out, okay? So RSI has completely cooled off. We needed to clear this out after being in this overbought territory. But we're also looking, what we're using to verify a breakout, what we were talking about is the 1 week chart. So when we move to the 1 week chart, you see we flipped EMA 9 and pushed well through EMA 9 all the way up to 240. Now we've pulled back down and we are fighting to stay above EMA 9. If the 1 week, and that's right at the 215 mark. So really, really important that we hold 215. If we hold 215, that opens us up to these larger moves. If we hold 215 here, that means we have flipped EMA on the 1 week chart. And historically with XRP, that is what opens up to these large moves here. You can see. But again, we have to close above EMA. So a retest of 215-ish is going to be important. We'll know here within a couple days how we're looking.